Well, first of all, and I'm sure you see this all the time. Of course, I have my badge and my souvenir.
Love that. Thanks.
And very proud to be in your tribe's book as well. And fell in love basically with all your books. So thank you so much for everything that you do and for inspiring entrepreneurs and business people and dreamers everywhere. So thank you so much.
Well, thanks for shipping it out the door. That's what really matters.
Let's talk for a moment, if you don't mind, about the concept of shipping. Is that really more so about finishing? That a lot of people start, a lot of people have ideas, but they don't really quite finish whatever it is that they're working on and get it out.
Well, why is that? Why is it that what ought to be the simplest part of the process is the one that happens the least often? Why is it that Duke Nukem took 9 years for the sequel to be finished and it never was, and they walked away from millions and millions of fans? Why is it that plenty of people declare their candidacy or start a zine or start a blog, but very few of them get over the finish line? And the answer is simple. Once you finish, you are saying to the world, okay, you can criticize it now. Okay, you can laugh at me now. Okay, I'm done. What do you think? And for obvious reasons, that's very frightening. And so we come up with 100 good excuses to not ship, 100 reasons to not get out of bed, 100 reasons to not apply for a program or publish something. And all of them are bogus. And the only reason is because we're afraid.
And another concept that you discussed in Linchpin was the idea of the lizard brain. And actually, one of my favorite quotes in the book was when you said, never let the lizard write an email. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, well, the lizard is actually part of our brain. It's right back here near your brain stem and includes your amygdala. And it is the prehistoric part of our brain, the brain of a lizard and the brain of a chicken. And it's responsible for revenge and anger and reproduction. That's its only job. And it will do anything it can to protect you if it thinks that you are at risk. It's the one that will write the angry email. It's the one that will hide in the corner when it feels threatened. And what makes us civilized, what makes us mature, and what makes us successful is navigating a world filled with the voice of the lizard, which Steve Pressfield calls the resistance. And this idea that you can somehow ignore it or live with it or wrestle it to the ground, temporarily defeat it and ship, that's what makes someone a successful author or a successful publisher or a successful anything. The story I like to tell is when a plumber comes to your house, he doesn't look at the clogged sink and go, oh boy, I don't know if I feel like doing this. Do you have a scotch or maybe some heroin? No one gets plumber's block. Plumbers just do plumbing. Where does writer's block come from? It comes from the lizard brain. The lizard brain knows that if you write something, if you ship something, if you do work that matters, maybe, just maybe, people are going to laugh at you.
If you could talk for a moment about dealing with the lizard brain, but also acknowledging the dip, which I also read that book, and knowing when to quit.
Well, one reason not to quit, it turns out, is that it makes the lizard happy. That if you're slogging and slogging and slogging along in something that's never going to go great and never going to wipe out, you're protected. You have cover. You can whine about it. You can say, well, I did my best. And what I challenged people to do in the dip, which is only 90 pages long, is to say, you know what? Why don't you just quit? I'm calling your bluff. I'm saying if all you're going to be is average at this, just stop doing it. In fact, stop doing all the things you're only willing to be average at. And all you'll have left are a few things where you can ship marvelous stuff out the door. And what we see is that, if you want to be as famous a cello player as Yo-Yo Ma, you're not going to also be the world squash champion. That's unlikely. That, in fact, single-minded devotion to being over-the-top remarkable is what's necessary in a world where you have so much competition.
And I know you talk about creativity. As a matter of fact, another concept in the book is addressing marketing people, addressing business people, addressing entrepreneurs as artists. And you talk about that there isn't necessarily a lack of creativity. More so, there's a lack of people that, as we just discussed, don't finish. However, considering that there are so many people that play follow the leader and do as they see others do, I mean, don't you feel that there is a lack, specifically in marketing, at least successful marketing, in creativity?
Well, the good news for people like us is there's a lack of creativity everywhere. And marketing didn't need creativity in the 1960s or 70s or 80s. The formula was simple. If you ran enough ads, you made enough money to run more ads. And ad agencies would like to claim that creativity was key, but it wasn't. What was key was running a lot of ads. McDonald's grew when their ads were good, and they grew when their ads were bad. They just ran ads. Now, it doesn't work anymore. And the reason it doesn't work is that the cost of the ads is still higher than the value the ads create. That what's happened over time in the last 5 years is the smartest people, the people with the most money, the people most likely to buy something, stopped watching TV. And so if those ads and magazine ads were a quarter of the price they are today, I'd say go run more ads. But for what you get, they're too expensive. And so what's left is using non-advertising techniques to spread the word. And those techniques, it turns out, demand creativity.
Many people are now utilizing social media to reach out to a potential audience. And obviously in the book, Meatball Sunday, you discussed how that's not necessarily appropriate for every business. However, let's talk about a moment in regards to entrepreneurs. There's so many entrepreneurs out there that are utilizing every single type of social media, but they're not doing any one of them effectively. I see people with 20+ thousand people that they're following. I'm trying to figure out how they follow these people. I mean, is there something to be said for maybe indulging too much in all of this new media that's come our way?
Well, let's pretend you're an insurance broker in 1964. If you wanted to, you could join the Rotary and the Optimists and the Lions Club and the Elks and the Moose and the one that the guys from the Honeymooners used to belong to. And the fact is, sooner or later, it's not worth going to any more of those meetings because you can't do a great job in either one. Wouldn't it be better to be the president of the Lions Club and be the person that everyone in that group trusts and looks up to and connects with than to be a hangers-on at each one of them? Well, we're in the same situation here, that there's all these dummies books and step-by-step instructions on how to pretend you're part of the system. But if you're not making an impact, if people wouldn't miss you if you were gone, then you're wasting your time. And the lizard brain's delighted because you're doing everything you're supposed to. You have deniability, but you're not making a dent in the universe.
The Raccoon Lodge, by the way.
There you go. And in the Flintstones, it was the Beavers, I think, or something. Yeah.
I just remember the Grand Poobah.
Yeah, there you go.